This is my Boomi process. First, let us look at the general information. In the process, there are two kinds of collectors, the database collector and the disk collector. For the disk collector, there are 1 get operation collector and 4 send operation collectors. I also use a document caches in my process to cache the jobs1 info for further use. And besides, I have several profiles, such as the database, the JSON, the flat file, and the XML profiles. I also use several maps in my process. The first map maps the JSON to the database format. The second and the third map maps the JSON to the flat file format, and the last map maps the JSON to the XML format. Okay, now let's look at how the process works. First, we will look at the database because as the process runs, it will insert some records into the tables. Now we can see there are 2 tables in the database, and we want to see what is contained in the table jobs1 now. It's an empty table now. Now let's run the Boomi process. The first collector is a get operator collector. It gets 2 JSON files from the disk. We can see the first JSON file called nycjobs1json. It looks like this. It contains attributes such as job ID, agency, civil service title, level, division work unit. And the second JSON file is called nycjobs2json. It looks like this. It contains attributes such as job ID, salary range from, and salary range to. After get these 2 JSON files, it will be forwarded to 3 branches. For the first branch, it will first go to the data process split jobs1. The data process will filter out the jobs1 records. The combined data process will then combine all the records of the jobs1, and then it will be further forwarded to 3 sub-branches. For the first sub-branch, it will add the jobs1 records into the cache. For the second sub-branch, it will map the jobs1 data to a flat file format and then save it to disk. For the third sub-branch, it will map the jobs1 data to the database format and then save it into database. For the second branch, similarly, it will first use this data process to filter out jobs2 records, and then use this data process to combine all the records of the jobs2. After that, it will use this map to map the jobs2 to a flat file format and then save it to the disk. For the third branch, it will first go through a data process. It will split all the records of the jobs2 as an independent file, and then it goes through the router. For the records with the attributes salary range from that is larger than 45,000, it will go through this branch. It will first use this data process to combine all the records, and then it will join these records with the jobs1 info which we previously cached it. And then it maps the joined result to a XML format, and after that it saves the result to the disk. For the records with the attributes salary range from that is not larger than 45,000, it will go the default branch. And for this branch, it will save these records directly to the disk. Now, let's look at the table now. We can see it's not empty anymore. It has job ID, department is agency, job title, job level, and work unit. And it contains all the records of the jobs1.json. We can also look at the flat file. We saved it on the disk, and XML file we also saved it on the disk. For the jobs1 flat file, we can see it looks like this. It has titles such as job ID, agency, civil service title, level, division, work unit, just like the jobs1.json. And it contains all the records of jobs1.json, but in a different format, in a flat file format. We can also look at the jobs2 flat file. It is similar, contains all the information of the jobs2.json, but in a flat file format. This is the joint result. It is in an XML format. You can see it contains two elements job. The first is job ID 102221, and its salary from is larger than 45,000 is correct. And the second job is also with a salary from larger than 45,000. It is also correct. Okay, for the default file, because we don't use a combined data process, so it just saved as independent data files. That's it. Thank you.